Hello, everybody. We finally got a look at Nya'lotha. The first raid testing was on Friday, and we finally got into the dungeon, in the raid. This is where it puts you into this old guarded room. I just assume this is like the entrance of where you're supposed to end up. Not really sure what is supposed to be here, because this is testing, but this is where we ended up. And then we teleport to the boss. The boss we tested was Shad'har, the Insatiable. It's a dog boss. It has 3 phases, and he is relatively simple, very few mechanics. You'll see here, we're waiting for our tank to teleport, because once you teleport, there were ads that spawned that would insta-give people, so we were waiting for the tank to go in first so we could kill him. And they just do this AoE ad thing. But as for the boss itself, it's pretty straightforward. So you see, we'll do the poll here. Shad'har is Preface Fight, pretty simple mechanics. He's actually kind of a small boss for the room he's tanked in. The edges of the room are poisonous, as in if you go into the water at the outside of his room, it will do big damage to you. So this is one of the only mechanics he has. He'll target someone with this slurry debuff that you see I have, and it has 4 stacks, and every time it ticks down, it will spread to additional targets. Now it does more damage based on how many stacks you have, so you'll see here I use Karma to absorb a lot of it. And then he starts out in his fire phase, and whenever he hits 100 energy, he will do a breath in a direction that you can dodge. And then additionally, he will summon Living Chow like this, and these ads will move towards somebody, and they deal drop-off damage. So you want to bring this ad to far away from the raid, then have it detonate. As you saw, you cannot pad on this ad, you cannot target it or anything. So it's just deal with the mechanic. This fight is mostly just single target DPS. As a melee, you don't really have to do a whole lot besides kill the boss. And then he phases at 66% health and 33% health. Now, at 66% health is supposed to be his nature phase, but it was bugged on the PTR and we kept getting the void phase. I assume this is just like a hotfix workaround, because earlier in the day, every time that the boss would get to 66% HP, we would just crash. It would crit error the whole raid. So we ended up doing the void phase in phase 2 instead of the nature phase. And the last phase is supposed to be the void phase. Now the nature phase, when that happens, will spawn a void zone in the middle, but we'll get to that when we get to that phase video here. At first we're going to conquer the shadow phase. So the shadow phase, he will start spawning balls that you have to soak. If you don't soak these balls, they'll explode for huge damage and most likely wipe your raid. So you need to have people soak them, but when you soak them, you get a stacking damage dot, and the damage dot hurts a lot. So you want multiple people soaking these things. Additionally, throughout the entire fight, he has these auras that you'll see that I have, and each aura is different, but basically what it boils down to is that it just does damage. I think the shadow one does like very fast damage, like every 0.5 seconds, and the fire one is every second. And then the poison aura is big damage every 3 seconds. You see I go soak here, get 3 stacks, move out. And you'll see it just does huge damage. Like 40k DPS. Only 3 stacks. You see I get the spit again, then I use the defensive. In terms of the tank side, from what I can notice, his tank mechanic is probably the most interesting part of the fight on Heroic. It's similar to Ursoc or Fetid, where he will do a tank mechanic, which then makes you vulnerable to his other tank mechanic that he will do rapidly after his first one. We need to do quick taunt swaps to avoid tank deaths. You see here, Crush goes out, and then Dissolve, they taunt, and then it does the breath. It's a little bit difficult, but not too bad. But we're chugging along here. This constant living chows, soaking. This is supposed to be the last phase of the fight again, and you'll see once we get to the nature phase here, he'll spawn a void zone in the middle of the room that will slowly get larger and larger. But I think that's the only mechanic that he gets in the nature phase. Really, it's just like a small DPS check so that you have to get past that phase fast enough. I would not recommend lusting this fight on pull. If you have a choice, it's not worth it. So here we go into the the last phase, which is supposed to be the second phase. Additionally, he gets a 25% damage buff when he gets low on HP here. So you'll see he has that buff, 25% damage. We lost this last phase, and yeah, you see the voids in the middle. It's just starting to get bigger and bigger, and it's just at this point we're just trying to kill the boss. But as you can see, it kind of just is like a patchwork simulator. Overall, I think the rest of the raid is pretty interesting to see. It's very large, very beautiful, very unique. Excited for it. Okay, we're clearing our way out. And here we can finally get to see the outside of what we were just in. We were in this big, like, old god looking thing. But there's like there's a bunch of buildings. It just looks like it's very awesome to look at. The skybox especially. But I mean, I'm super excited for this raid. Hopefully they get more testing in soon. Because Shad'har was cool, but it really felt like it was more of just like a technical testing. Make sure that everything's stable and working correctly. And it was not, but you know, I'm looking forward to the testing of this raid in the future. Just to see and explore this area and the bosses. Should be quite an experience. But that's gonna be it for me for now. And I'll catch you guys next time.